All right. We're back on lesson 24, and we have breaks. And what we have is these rules here apply, and we have some situations where there was, I think, two letters, one particularly that dropped out of the Greek language. It was in the Greek language in the classical Greek, and I think it survived even up almost to the time of the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Old Testament. But just about that time, it dropped out of the language. And so what happened is they replaced it with some other letters. And so they added some more letters and did some other things with it. So that made some of the root words change. Am I making sense now? Okay. And we can look at some of these root words and see, but it's called a digamma. That letter is called a digamma. And so you run into that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out of this file and get into the other file and we'll find the digamma and talk about it just briefly. And that's part of the reason some of these rules don't apply. They kind of break down. So I'm gonna stop sharing that one. I'm gonna begin to share another one, and we're going to get the lexicon and grammar notes. We'll share it now.
Can I ask you something about the Greek lexicon and grammar notes?
Yes.
You have a table of contents over there. Can you add those other things on there too? You know, like prepositions and past tense and present tense on the table of contents. Is that hard to do?
In this grammar notes and lexicon?
Yeah, see, I can click on like the conjunction on my Logos program because I've got it in there, and I can hit on like conjunctions. It carries me right down to that section.
I don't have mine that good. What I'm doing is I'm just adding. It's all in alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order. Okay, then that helps me.
The lexicons first, and then what happens if you go to the end of the file? What I've got here, let's go to the end. Oops. Control N. Let's go to the end. I hit the page down. I have 422 pages, I guess, of notes. I have some of the symbols that you use that are in these various books, right, and what they mean. And so when you read in some of these definitions, like in Thayer, they'll use these. They have a kappa, tau, lambda, that's chi, toi, loi, poi. And that's equivalent to, or it is the Latin word and. So it's equivalent to. And so it's the remainder of the rest of them. Now here's your digamma. I want you to see it. And, right here. Classical Greek had a letter called digamma because it looked like two gammas together, like we see the gamma right here. I put my mouse over it. Later it began to look like the English letter F, sometimes leading to the right, looking more like this right here. Pretty much like an F like this. And it was pronounced essentially like the letter W in English. When the W sound dropped out of most Greek dialects, this letter was dropped from the alphabet. And so it was a letter dropped out before the Koine period. And it's replaced most of the time by an upsilon, but occasionally it's replaced by another letter or two, okay? And so it originally became between the epsilon and the zeta in the alphabet, it's called a semiconsonant. And the fact that it's part of the language, let's just take akuo, for example. The root for akuo is actually alpha, kappa, omicron, and then digamma. But since the digamma dropped off, the root changed. And so we have some words here where that changed. And I think one or two of the words we had here, that would work on it. Then I'm going to do a scan for digamma. It'll help you to see what one of our problems is. I don't have it. I think what I do, I don't call it a digamma. I just take this letter here. All right, come on now. Now we'll see if we can find it again. Find next. Unfortunately, it's recognizing it's the letter F. Okay, I'm sorry. Some of our words that we had have the digamma in them or had them in it originally. Let me do this. I want to do that. Do that. Let me go into this just a minute since I'm in it. Go back to the end of the file, and it's got 400. The letters of the alphabet in with the diacritical marking, so you can copy them if you want to write. Bibliography of all the books that I've cited. There's a bunch there. And then I have pronouns. So we have our pronouns in alphabetical order. But I also have it right at the end, difficult English words defined that are used by the various sources that I quote. Anaphoric, right here, anaphoric, didactic, cataphoric, and monodic. This is what those words mean. You'll hear them cited. Wallace uses all of these words. Some other sources use them too, and you may read them in various Greek books. So that'll help you to put all of my pronouns right at the end. Now I'm going to go through and put the pronouns also in alphabetical order. Then I have some rules for pronouns. And so there are the different kinds of pronouns and so forth. Some rules. And I have prepositions that we have two different kinds of prepositions. I think we already talked about that. There's proper and improper prepositions. Prepositions come before this, and I have all of the main prepositions that we run into, the proper prepositions. Proper preposition can be used separate as a separate word or as a prefix on another word, usually. Rules for prepositions, and then I have in alphabetical order. I have some grammar rules. Okay, and so I have keep adding to it. And I'm sorry, it's kind of a mess. You need to go through it, find what you want in there, but there'll be rules for prepositions and so forth. Any questions? Okay, so the flow is laid out here, and beta alpha lambda is the root for that, and is altered in the present sim here. And here's some rules and just an illustration of some of the rules. All right. I got these out of a grammar book, and I cite where I got them. Um, stems and the punctuation marks. I have rules for punctuation marks and things of that nature that can be helpful to you. Okay. All right. It's not better arranged, but I use this, and whenever I want to cite something, I don't have to retype it in. I've checked it here and I've got it typed in my notes here, so I can just cut and paste. Right. Does that help? You understand what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
And, so, you know, if you want to use it, you can take this material and cut and paste it, of course. And of course, right, a proper noun, and talks about all of these things. There's a noun of a common gender, and some nouns have a common gender. Theos, God, has a common gender. The form of it can be the masculine or feminine. And then you go look at an article to tell which it is, okay? All right, any questions before we go back to the material? I'm trying to think of what word it was that we were looking at. And let me get into it. And you won't be able to see the file, I'll just look into it. I think we had oida. The oida was one of our words that had this form that changed on us. So I'm going to check oida, okay? We'll go over to it in our file, oida. And that'll get me to, that's pretty close to oida. And I can scroll down, okay? Now, I don't know what's going on here. All right. There's oida. Now, oida is an interesting word. I got a bunch of information, and here is the root of it is, notice the digamma and the iota, delta, and that's it's irregular in the perfect active. So it's irregular because of this root is the digamma which dropped out. So that's one of the reasons oida has some strange rules. Does that help a bit? And I think Benjamin asked some questions about it. Next week, we're going to pick up an extra student in here, okay? So we'll have one in the class here. So that worked out pretty well. I was hoping that we could do that. And I hope I hadn't put you fellas out with doing that. Any questions? All right. All right, now I'm going to stop sharing it and go back to the other file. And we'll go to the grammar. I think this is the one we were using. All right, can you see it now? Still?
Yep.
Okay, there's oida. And
I can't see it.
Oh, not seeing anything now. Just blank.
Yeah, it's just gray.
How about now?
Anyway,
I picked the wrong file. All right. Okay, I'm sorry, it's my fault. Oida, let's footnote number 10. Oida is found 318 times in the Greek New Testament, so it's pretty evident that it's there a bunch. Erkomai has odd forms in all of the cases. It's irregular. Okay, what's an irregular verb? Right. So right here we have oida, and of course the form of it. Of course, we laid that out earlier. We saw that it has the digamma as part of the root word. So our stem becomes iota delta, and it had a digamma on it. Well, the digamma was lost. So our stem is the iota and delta. That's your stem. So the stem is irregular because it lost that digamma from what it was originally. All right. Your perfect tense, you have your first and second perfect. There's no difference in the meaning of them. They both represent the present result of a past action. Right?
So question.
Yes.
So Ado then is not used. It's orao, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Ado.
it's the present form is horao. That's the present form of it right there, horao. And so it's irregular in its form. And
It says that Ado with the 11 superscript on it says it's obsolete. So that Ado is not used in the Bible.
no, you might find it in the Septuagint. Certainly you'll find it in the older Greek, okay?
I
But
see.
you'll find the digamma in the earlier Greek too. English had 2 or 3 letters that dropped out around 1760. And there were 2 or 3 letters. One was called the horn. The ampersand was a letter, and there was a couple of other letters. The what we know as the V did double duty. It did the duty of the U and the V sound, both sounds. And they modified it. And if you get a 1611 King James Version, it'll have those other letters in it. And what you run into is it's harder to read. You can probably read it without much trouble, but it does have some extra letters that we don't have in our modern English. So our modern English alphabet that we have started between 1760 and 1769. And if you get a copy of a facsimile of a copy, not one that's been edited, but a facsimile of the Declaration of Independence and some of the early documents like that, you'll find that it has all of those letters in it. Okay, so it hadn't gotten yet to the colonies. These changes hadn't come to the colonies yet in the United States. So we have the same problem. The same thing happened to our English language. Any questions? Any more questions? So what I've tried to do in these words, as I come and get sources that give me the root words, I'm putting them in this file that you have, lexicon and grammar notes file. So I'm putting the root words after each word as I can find it. And I'm trying to just, as I find one, I'm double check and make sure it's in my file. If it's not, I'm adding it to the file. So that way the file keeps changing. Right? But it's always, I'm trying to improve it. Right? So oidai is a very important word. Erikomai is another one of our words that we had earlier. We have it up here. It has, the forms are completely different. Erikomai, and then we have all of these forms. This will be your aorist. It'll be you'll have future, present, future, and then aorist, and then perfect. And that's the conjugation of the perfect form is this word here for erikomai. They don't even look alike, do they? It's like go and gone in English. So that's a little bit of a problem for us. But we have a list of those words in a lesson, about 2 or 3 lessons away from us. We'll come back to them and we'll list them. I have all of those words that have a different form that are irregular. I have them listed as irregular in this lexicon file that you have, okay? So it has them listed. Now, if you know how to use, and I want to do this before we quit studying Greek, I want to go through how to use a lexicon. And if you know how to use a lexicon, you can figure out they're irregular just from Thayer. I like Thayer's lexicon. I think it's good. I know it's older, but I still think it's good. I don't agree with everything he has. He has some things that are wrong, but all your lexicons do have some things that are wrong. Lexicons, most lexicons are not just lexicons. They're actually commentaries as well. When they begin to interpret words or passages of scripture, they're commentators, okay? And where I disagree with Thayer most of the time is when he gets off as a commentator, okay? And it's not very often, but once in a while he gets off, okay, on some strange stuff, right? Any questions? All right. And right here we have a kuo, and this is the perfect form of a kuo. So the perfect form of a kuo is a keikoa, a keikoa, a keikoa. And then we have noiga, anoigo, I have opened, anoigo. And then aneoga, aneoga. And that's the perfect form. It's still got parts of it to look pretty good, but it does change. Ginomai is goma, and we got to look at the root words on it. But so it's a little bit different. Grapho is I write, grapha, and so that's a perfect form. Notice a reduplication. Right here, the gamma, epsilon, that's the first two letters are your reduplication. So you take the next three, they're right here, the same as this. And then the phi, so that the first four are the same. So we got an alpha and then we put an omega, and omega becomes an alpha in the first person. So that's pretty well standard form, the reduplication. So it's not irregular. Lambano is a little bit irregular, but not. It follows most of the rules we have up here. Lambano is I have taken. I would say it should be I have taken if it's in active voice. And I think it's receive if it's in the passive voice. Right? Erkomai, we've already looked at it. Horao, we've looked at it. And then oida, I have seen. And that is from, as we said right up here, let me see. Yeah, right here it is, from horao. Okay. So this is a form of horao, oida, I have seen. So that's the perfect form of it. It's an older form. Posco is I suffer, pepona, peponta, and that I have suffered. Notice you got an augment and the first two letters, and then it becomes a little bit irregular, okay? And patho is I am persuaded, and you have the augment, you have the reduplication, I'm sorry, pay, portha, and patho, our word pistuo comes from it, from the same root, and it's to be persuaded, I believe. Tetuka, and tukano is I succeed, and so that's a word we have here. Ignoka, from Gnosko, I know, I have known, and K Krodva. And Krodzo is I have cried out, or I cry out. This is not I have cried out. This is present tense, so I cried out. I cry out. All right. I don't think that's a literal rendering right there. All right. Any questions? Okay. Now, you want to try the first sentence there, one of you? Which one wants to go first? Benjamin, you want to take it first?
Okay. Humes apestaukata prosyonen kai memarureke te aletheia. I said, y'all have sent out to John, and he has testified with the truth.
He's testified with the truth, or it could be to the truth. Okay. With the truth would be legitimate, or to the truth. What he testified was truth. He did testify with truth, with the truth. Or you could say he testified to the truth. And again, that's kind of a toss-up, and it's a context as to which one is the correct rendering. Everyone see that? All right. Okay, any questions there? All right. Next reader. We'll have 3 readers next week.
Ego de u para anthropu te marturian elespa. And I translated that. Let me see here. But we have not taken the testimony of men.
Okay. But I, is it we or I?
It's I. Sorry.
Yeah, but I have not taken the testimony, the witness of men, not received it. Say, I think if we look at it, it might be I've not taken it. I've not taken it to myself. This is a self-prompted taking. Lambano is. So it's something you reach out and take it, and without being prompted, you decide to take it. So I have not taken that. Now, oo, of course, is a stronger form of not, and it just denies the fact, right? So that's all it does. Okay. Any question? I have not taken it. So what it's saying here is I haven't taken it with continuing results. I didn't take it in the past, and I'm still not in the state of having taken it. So that's your perfect tense. What that means. Let me see here. This is a long reading.
Benjamin likes him long.
I'm all right.
That's another helper.
It is a long one.
All right. Well, let me go back to one thing, but and what we have here, when ego is found, it's always emphatic.
Yeah.
Because your verbs carry your verbs always carry their subject with them. Remember that in Greek. Or if you have ego, and that's the nominative case form, or hemes, which is a nominative plural form of that word, you are automatically making it emphatic. See, so it's pretty emphatic. Right? Does that help?
Yes, sir.
And the grammar books, I cite them, do tell us that. And so what you do is you go to the word ego at the end of the book of this file, and you'll see that I cite sources that tell us that. Okay. Any question? But really what you're doing, because the verb has its own pronoun with it, you're repeating the pronoun I would be a literal translation, which of course is not good English, but it would be good Greek because they would read it as being emphatic. I would translate it I, even I. See, that would work. That would give this the emphasis. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Let me ask you something again. Now you said because it's perfect. Perfect. I have not taken in the past and not taken in the future. Is that what you're saying?
No, I have not taken in the past. That's in the past I've not taken.
Yes.
And I still have not, the results of having not taken are still there. I'm still in that state of not having taken. I didn't take it in the past, and I still haven't. The results of not taking that testimony is there. The testimony of men is still there. I still have not taken them. And
Still not taken.
so it's a present results of past action. That's how you interpret it. Present results of past action. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? All right, go ahead if you would, Benjamin, please.
Ha pater dedoke moi ta erga teleosai auta ta erga ha hoyo marture peri emu hati ha pater me apestoke. The Father has given me his works to finish. His works, which I do, they testify about me that he has sent me.
Okay. So we have two perfects, the Father, and so the Father has sent me. And that is perfect tense. So he has sent me to do something, and I'm still here doing it.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes.
All right. And he gave to me, or he gave, and I'm still doing those things he gave me to do, and the works, and teleosai, and is from teleos or teleoo, verb form, and that's to complete something. So I've finished the works, I've completed them, brought them to their fruition or to their fullness, to their complete maturity. So Jesus brought maturity. If this is Jesus, probably this is, at least not necessarily a quote of the scripture, but it's pretty much some things we put scripture together that Jesus would have said, okay? All right? The works which I do, they bear witness concerning me. Now I want you to look at this word, me, and move. I put my mouse over it right there. Again, the file that I let you look at earlier, that file is has this pronoun. Normally, we'll just have mu without the epsilon, and mu generally won't even have an accent mark on it, be enclitic. And so mu, or and the mu and the omicron epsilon without the epsilon is unemphatic. But if you take that, it's the same word as mu, but it's emphatic. Epsilon is emphatic, and it won't be enclitic. It'll have an accent mark on it. So I'm going to type up here what you would see unemphatic, let you see what I'm talking about. Right. So you can see what I'm looking at here. And I'll put that in symbol font. Hopefully it'll.
So when translating to English, how would you add that emphasis in the text? If you were saying it, you would probably speak it out louder or something, right? About me.
Louder, or you could put it in bold print, right? And this is not. Now good. There's my mu. That's unemphatic, and that's an unemphatic form of this mu down here. Okay, right here. Word, except the one that's highlighted now, is emphatic. Does that help?
Yes.
And of course, we've already said ego is emphatic, and humes is the plural form of you, and that would be su, would also be emphatic, the singular form, and I'll write that out. Also emphatic, okay? So this is the singular form of the plural, it's a singular form, it's nominative case, the nominative singular. This is the nominative plural. The nominative case forms of these are emphatic. And also ego and the hemes would be the plural form of id. Is that a rough reading? Put a rough reading on it and a circumflex on the iota, and you'll have the word. Okay, does that help? That's emphatic plural form, a nominative plural form of ego. And this file that I sent you will tell you that. So it'll go through there and tell you that. Okay? Any questions? All right. Okay. Now, now then we're back to Bobby.
Okay, I'll type in there. O patar epepsi me kai ekenos me mar tu reiki pari imu. The Father hath sent me, and he bears witness concerning me.
Okay, the Father has sent me. Now, he sent me. Notice it has an augment on it, so it's not perfect. So it's something that's usually in the past. And ekinos and that, and ekinos is that, the distance, see? And that I bear testimony to that. It and he bears testimony, okay, concerning me. Now, a mu, of course, we've just said here is emphatic. We just said that. So the testimony is concerning Jesus that he's talking about. Does that help?
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Look out the word that. That's what I was looking for.
Enos is that. Hutos is this. This is near object and that is the far object. But these are really, they're really adjectives that function as pronouns. And so they have gender and they have case. This is the nominative case, masculine gender, okay? Now the form of the masculine and neuter gender are the same in a number of, in some forms, okay? Now here's a word that's kind of interesting. So let's come down to it, and I may go over into that other file. I know we slowed down a bit, but sometimes these words are real helpful to you. Okay, go ahead if you will.
Uta phonein autu popote ake kote uta eidos autu elrakate. Neither have y'all ever heard his voice, nor have y'all seen his image.
Okay. So I want you to notice here we have ute, and then we have another form that is mete. And I'm going to type it again up here. I'm going to do that right there. Mete. And so we change that into Greek font. Wants to I ignore it. I ignore it. Have it. Symbol. Mete. There's ute down here. Where was it? Ute. And then there's mete. Now there's a difference between u and may. Both of them mean not, but ute is an absolute not, and mete is an iffy not. I think I treat it like that. It's kind of an iffy not. And again, you can go into that file and it discusses those two in detail. Now, what I'm going to do when we finish this, if we have time, I'll go over and we'll look at mete and ute. We'll look at those two words because there's some rich information there. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, just to clarify, which one was which? Mete is the
Iffy.
iffy one.
And ute is the absolute. Absolute.
Thank you.
Having throat trouble tonight.
So how you feel?
Now, let's see. On the what is next Tuesday? What day of the month is that?
29th.
29th? Okay. Well, the 29th, on the 5th, that'll be a Tuesday, I believe. We will not have class. Okay. I'll be having surgery. Okay. So, any questions? All right. Okay. I think we're back to, okay. I think Benjamin read last. Okay.
Okay. Oh no, I get one of them long.
Yep, you do. Sorry about that.
Doctrine para pom le fe ala noka ke aka humes hote tain agapain tu the uk ete in Hiltos. We have not received glory from man, but I have known you because you have not the love of God in yourself. That's the way I put it.
Okay. So you do not have the love of God in yourself. Now this is ooh over here, where my mouse says the kappa is there because we have two vowels. We have a diphthong and a vowel, and this breaks it up. Over here, the Allah lost the alpha. That's where your apostrophe is, and it lost it because it would have had an alpha and an epsilon to have the breaking that up. So if it had put a new on it, that would have been a different word, and so they wouldn't do that. Okay. So glory from man we have not received. Now again, we have to ask ourselves, is this passive or active voice? Well, we've only studied the active, so this is active voice. I think what he's saying is we haven't sought the glory of men, self-prompted taking. We haven't sought out the glory of men. And so.
I said I have not taken glory from man. Is it we?
Yeah, it's
It's
So yes, it should be I. Is it time for?
No, we got 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes, okay. It's I, I'm sorry. And so it's a self-prompted taking. Let me point out, Allah is really important here because it always puts a new and separate category. It may be used in separation between good and evil, for instance. I've not done good, but I've done evil. Or you have not done good, but you've done evil. You've not done evil, but you've done good. This would be Allah, that would be but, and so it's in two separate, completely different categories. Whereas delta epsilon, which we have up here, I'll put my mouse over it, I can have them in the same categories, okay? Okay, any question? And so because you don't have the love of God. You do not have the love of God in yourselves, right? Let's try this here. And we got
Ego elelutha kai u lambanete me. I have come and y'all do not receive me.
Okay, all right. But let's take the next sentence and then we'll let, okay, if you would, all on 11.
All on lam sits there. I put those together. I don't know why I done that. Didn't see the period. Let's see. I got another you. No. You all shall receive another.
Okay, you'll receive another. You receive someone different. All right. All right. So they didn't receive him, they received someone else. Coming back here. Add there if you would.
Elephate doxan para alelon kai u setete doxan para tu nomu monu theu. Y'all have taken glory from one another, and y'all do not seek glory from God alone.
Okay. Or from the only God. Okay. The only true God, the only God. God alone. Okay. That's okay too. So you have not, and you see, you're still in that state of not having taken that glory from you. You're still in the state of having taken the glory from another. Okay. And Allah, alone, the mouse is over it, is another of the same nature. Okay. So I think that what they were taking the glory from men and not taking it from God. And so it'd be another of the same nature. Okay. That makes sense? So they were seeking the glory of men, not the glory of God is their problem. And I think that's what that's saying. You're not seeking the glory of the only God. You've sought out, and this is self-prompted taking, you've sought out the glory of men to take it, and did not seek for the glory from God, the only God, true God, God alone, God only. Okay. Any questions? All right, let's do this. We kind of got started on it a little bit last week. Let's do the pluperfect next week. And I'll try to bring up the passage in Romans 7 and we'll look at it and make application of it, that you see kind of how I viewed it, okay? Any questions?
On number 6 down there in part B, it has the word for amar to loi, and it's got a moo in it. Is that?
I took it out too. I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
I also couldn't figure out what that sentence was trying to say. That's the only one I got stuck on.
Okay. And number 6, is this?
Yes, sir. The word there for Hamar.
I'll tell you what, let's go back to next week and I'll double check it and see what it may have a spelling error in it, okay?
I think it does, yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Have a good day. Good night.
We'll look at that next week.
All right.
All right, you guys take care.
You too.
Brother?
Yes.
I was going to wait till you were done recording, but I wanted to ask about your surgery.
All right.